Good morning, it's UPBOptionMillionaires.com. It's a Wednesday, January 21st, 2015. Stock futures are on the decline, down 0.2%. We had a nice pullback off the opening high here yesterday, and then recovered those losses into the close, off the lows, OTL as they like to call them, in 2015. But we are now pulling back here again. If you draw a trend line across, we have broken below it. Stock futures are pulling back. We're going to see a similar decline here. We've had a lot of rips getting sold off here in 2015. Another thing to watch for here, if you pull up an S&P 500 futures longer term daily chart, we had the big pullback here, start of December. Actually, December 1st, a flash crash of Apple kind of started the ignition for a pullback into the middle of December. Then Santa Claus came, and Santa Claus went. 2015 started, and it's really been, to string together two positive days like we did on Friday and yesterday has been certainly not the norm. Something we'd see all throughout 2014, where we'd have nary a negative day, but in 2015, just the opposite. So we're at the cusp here of another strong pullback. If we break through this support line here, you can just draw another line across here for S&P 500 futures. We break below this, we could be looking at significant declines, possibly back down to the October lows here, and maybe beyond that, but we'll see. We got to hold this level. Another level I'd like to see a hold, and let me just pull up Netflix real quick. Bouncing off support here, Netflix is not one of the stocks that's down, up over 20%. If you look back in October, I had a similar decline, over 20% to the downside. Now reversing that, and I'm expecting this gap to get filled up. Put that out at the blog at Option Millionaires, talking about the upside potential, the 385s for 370. JB was talking about it last week as well in the watch list. But let's look at the S&P 500, and you can see we've broken below support. This is very bearish, and if you look from a longer-term perspective, possibly topping here. Again, I'm not calling for a massive pullback or anything, but what we have to look at is each of the times the market has dipped, put in a nice V bottom, has recovered. Something has changed a little bit here. We'll see. We have the ECB tomorrow. That could be the ignition switch for more gains up to the top side. And I've been talking about this since the end of last year, that we'd ultimately head back up to this 212.97 level on the SPY. We'll see if that happens. Another key here is the 100 level on the QQQ. The NASDAQ has been holding this level here, and if you look, each time it's hit it, bounced significantly. But something to keep in mind is, again, we're putting in lower highs. Lower highs, eventually, each time we hit this level here, the support line, making lower highs, we're going to break through it, and if we do, we're going to see pretty sharp pullback. So something to keep an eye on here. Strong support. It was resistance back in the middle of 2014. We had a decline in October to support here at 90, so that would be the type of move I'm looking for. If we do, these lower highs ultimately lead to a move below this level. I'd be setting up for a move, or the market would be setting up here for the QQQ to hit to about 90. Let's look at some other ETFs. GDX, which is the gold miner ETF, is up almost 5% this morning. Gold rallying overnight, and you can see this move is probably going to peter out here at about the 25.50 level. If you pull back, we just see how far that trend line goes back. Wow, it goes back pretty far. There you go. So that trend line goes all the way back to 2009. So that is a really strong resistance point. I don't think GDX is going to go any further than that. FCX also is likely rallying here. Broken. This is broken. Any kind of bounces here are going to be sold. Look at the last 6 months of trading here for FCX. Just nasty downside, true support. This is setting up for a move under $10. We have earnings reports. I'll get into those in a minute, but we had IBM last night falling. I was in the calls because I was thinking the stock would bounce up and kiss this 170 level here, former support. Instead, it did gap up briefly after the earnings report, but now it's resuming its downside. And wow, there's a lot of room to go here. I was talking about this towards the end of 2014 for continued downside. It has done just that, and my calls are going to be worth pretty much nothing at the open, barring some sort of stick save. And this IBM looks pretty bearish. But then keep in mind also, dividend yields in a TLT. Bring up the bond market. Bonds continue to be bought here. And look at the explosive move here we're seeing. TLT, a chart like this, you would think it's parabolic move, a blow-off type top. But the ECB tomorrow might set the stage for continued gains for the bond market as negative interest rates take hold. And yields on bonds overseas are less than here in the U.S. And some of these countries were formerly days away from going belly up, yet they're yielding less on their bonds than here in the U.S. Pretty wild, and that's why we're seeing this really sharp spike here for TLT. Up again today. Let's look at gold, which is up this morning, up almost 2%. It's broken above this trend line here. I don't think it's going to head back up to 150. Just got to keep an eye on it. But if you draw another trend line across, it's clearly broken out. We look at the next level for GLD at 130. We have earnings reports. Well, actually, let's just go to Walmart. Downgraded this morning. The stock hit over 91. A lot of it had to do with the lower oil prices. It's downgraded again this morning. I'm looking for support here short term on 85. And if you look longer term, 5-year, this was a megaphone topping pattern. It just did not work out. Now it's at the top of it. So a break of this would bring probably 62.50 back in focus for Walmart, which is a pretty significant move from here for a stock that's a Dow Jones Industrial Average component, and clearly not one that is apt to move in a big fashion. Home Depot yesterday was upgraded and yet fell. You can see it's kind of, I don't know. To me, it looks like momentum might be waning here. We've got the relative strength index starting to roll over. We have a crossover here, possibly to the downside. We can see a break of 100. I mean, it's been some run. Back in the middle of 2011, this was a $25 stock, and now it's just significantly risen in value. A precursor possibly to Home Depot's decline could be Lowe's, which was downgraded this morning, down 1.38% here before the market opens. We're about 2.5 hours before the market's going to open for trade. But you can see a similar type pattern. We had a really sharp move. $17.50 up to $70, even bigger percentage-wise move for Lowe's. Let's get to earnings. That way we can just get our day started. We have an American Express. This is probably something I'm going to play for earnings, and I'm hoping the stock pulls back this morning. It looks like it's up 1.42%. I love this consolidation here, and I think it's going to head back up. The one thing you keep in mind, though, if you go back 5 years, let's go back even further. Back when American Express was at $10 a share back in 2009, Goldman Sachs said it was a $7.50 stock. And then just recently, at record highs, it said it's a $105 stock, something like that, upgraded it. So here, Goldman Sachs was downgrading it to a sell, $7.50, and here they're upgrading it to buy, $105. So, that's the only thing that really gets me a little nervous here when you get the analysts who have been, habitually wrong about a stock. They come in, upgrade a stock that they've been wrong about when they downgraded it 4.5 years ago. It makes me a little nervous here. But we're a short-term trader here going out of the money calls for an option that expires at the end of the week. We've had a nice pullback since the start of the year, down from 94, almost $10. So we see if we get a little bit of pullback here. I'll be buying some calls for earnings tonight after the bell. American Express used to be a really nice earnings trade. Back again when Goldman Sachs downgraded the stock. One earnings day, it went from, $18, $19 to $25 in the after-hours session. I don't think we're going to see that kind of 20% move to the upside. But we could see something. This might be something possibly to get into after the bell tomorrow when the market opens for trade. So we'll see. Keep it small. Earnings trades are pretty much a crapshoot. Although you can look, like we did with Netflix, you look at trend line support as a position builder, as getting into something, saying, all right, well, we have support here. The stock is down significantly, 475 to 325, $150. We're at support. Just logic sometimes works, and nothing is set in stone. I mean, these trend lines could get broken. You never know what the earnings report is going to say. We have eBay. I was talking about this one as well on the blog at Option Millionaires. We're back in the channel again. We're back. That's why I do stocks and not sing. But you look, we have eBay has been consolidating over the last 2.5 years in this channel. Briefly broke out of it a couple times at the start of 2014. And looks poised to come back down to the bottom of this. Indeed, when it does break out of this channel, I think it's going to have a swift and sharp move to the upside. I'm not sure the earnings report tonight is what's going to send it out of that channel. FFIV We've broken out of this beautiful, formerly resistance line here. It came back to kiss it. Looks like gains are coming. That's after the bell today. I'm not going to trade it though because the options are very expensive. Later on this week we have Starbucks, which looks strong here for a move to the upside. We have McDonald's reporting earnings. Also, it's been selling off since it hit its record high. I don't know. You take this away, you'd almost say it's some sort of a longer-term head and shoulders topping pattern. Something to keep an eye on. We also have SanDisk after the bell today. I'm looking possibly for a move back up. You can see this gap down, which was a former trendline support, broke down below it. I like the odds for it to come back up and give it a kiss before it either breaks above it or resumes a downward momentum move. All right, UPBOptionMillionaires.com. It is about 2 hours before the market's going to open for trade. Stock futures are lower. Wow, we've taken an even further move to the downside. Look at that. And I just pointed out how we broke through the support, broke through it with a vengeance. We were back before, an hour and a half before the close of yesterday's price action. And we'll see if that continues as the day progresses. We're going to get another one of these pullback days and moves to the upside. I do think we'll probably recover these losses. There's going to be more of a muted session heading in to the ECB tomorrow, which is its biggest meeting since June of last year. UPBOptionMillionaires.com. See you in the chat room. Everyone have a great trading day. Goodbye.